Time for another board game review, and this time we have the game Moono. Moono! This game was sent to me by Lion Rampant Imports, an utterly, fun card game. It's time to visit the cow farm full of flies and ew, cow patties! Your family and friends can join Moono, the head cow fly, in this fun card game of matching the cow's spots and making barnyard noises for an amusing moo time. I think that second part is kind of stretching on the puns. Moo time? Like good time? Moo time? Hope the game is better than the puns. Alright, let me show you how to play.
So in Moono, you're trying to be the first to play all your cards, just like Uno. Any players with cards left at the end of the round, count up the spots. Oh, hello, Sophie. Any players with cards... Any player with cards left at the end of the round, count up their spots on their cows and are given fly points for each. The player with the fewest fly points at the end of the game is the winner. So you deal 7 cards to each player, and they all have, look at that, different cows on them. The remaining cards stay face down in the middle of the table. You're going to be using this play area for the game. So going in a clockwise direction, you take turns playing cards, and each cow must be played going the same direction around the cow pad. So you start clockwise. Now, looking at the card in the middle, whatever cow you play has to have a spot on that part of the cow. So cows can have spots in 1, 2, 3, 4 different spots. And so since this fly, Moono, is right here, you could play this card. So let's say player 1 plays this card. Hey, that works because there's a fly here and here. Now, since we're going clockwise, player 2 has to play a cow here. It has to be facing the right way, which is this way, and the spot has to be, again, on the bottom. So player 2 could play this card. As you can see, the fly and the spot match each other, and it's going clockwise, facing the right direction, going around. So it's a legitimate card. Now, let's say player 1 doesn't have any cows that match the requirements. Then they draw a card from the middle. Now, if you look, now Moono is actually up here. So whatever cow is played here, the spot has to be on the top. So Moono's position is going to be constantly changing as the game progresses and people draw more cards. So after you draw your card, if you can play that card, you may. Otherwise, your turn ends and the next player goes. Now, these cows are just regular grazing cows. They don't have any special effects. These red cards are dairy cows, and the number of spots on the cow indicate how many subsequent players lose a turn. So with this one, there's 1 spot. So one other player, the next player, would lose their turn and skip their turn. These yellow cards are cow pad cards, and depending on how many spots there are, this one has 3, the player to your left must draw cards equal to the number of spots, so the next player would have to draw 3 cards as a penalty. But if that player can play another yellow card, they add those spots to the total until someone can't play a yellow cow pad card. So if, let's say, player 2 played this and player 1 played this, if player 2 can't counter it, then they have to draw 4 cards. These pink party cows change the direction of the cows, and they introduce a new animal sound. So what you would do, if we're going clockwise right now, let's say the next player plays this card here. Now we have to go counterclockwise. And whenever you play a party cow, you have to accompany it with a new animal sound. You may not use moo, you may not use bzz, that's reserved to Moono, and you may not repeat any animal sound that has already been used. So you could go meow or doesn't matter. It can be any animal sound, but it can't be an animal sound that someone else already used when they played a party cow. These dark green meadow cows allow you to immediately play additional cards based on the number of spots. So this one, if I played it here, I can play 2 more cards. Now, you can play 2 more cows if the first of your 2 cows is a regular grazing cow or a party cow. If you decide to play a dairy cow or a cow pat cow after this meadow cow, then you can only play 1 of those. You can't play 2 cards. Or if you want, you can use another meadow cow, but that only counts as a grazing cow. And so you can only play that as 1. If you play a meadow cow, but you are not able or willing to play any more cards, you can announce that and pass. So you don't have to play additional cards if you play this. And you can't play a meadow cow as the first card in a round. Now, when you're playing your second to last card, let's say you got 2 of them left, you have to make an animal sound that was introduced by the previous party cow. If a party cow has not been played yet, you just say moo. But you have to think back, okay, I think they did a chicken sound, so that's the animal sound you have to do. When you play your last cow, you have to call out Moono. you ignore the function of this card. It's just a regular card, but you have to say Moono when you play it. Now that's a lot of different rules with animal sounds and cow conditions and turning around and skipping turns and reversing. And this is where bzz comes into play. If you ever notice one of the other players has made a mistake, you act as Moono, the cow fly, and you go bzz. If you are caught making a mistake, you have to draw a card from the cow pad pile. If you've already placed cards, you take the last card you played back into your hand and your turn ends immediately. So possible mistakes are playing a cow that doesn't have the correct spot, playing a cow in the wrong direction, playing a cow in an incorrect position, forgetting to do the right animal sound or the wrong animal sound, incorrectly saying bzz. If you say bzz but no one made a mistake, then someone can bzz you back. And you can also, if you play a cow on someone else's turn. Another mistake is missing your turn if you have not been subjected to a dairy cow. Players may ask at any time whose turn it is. If it is your turn and you don't respond, that's a mistake. As soon as a player has played their last cow correctly with the Moono, the round ends, no matter what cow is on the card, or if the last card in this pile is drawn. Now, each player who still has cows in their hands adds up their spots. So if you had, let's say, these two left, you would get 5 fly points, and you keep track of them. You play as many rounds as there are players, so at the end of the game, after all the rounds are played, the player who has the fewest fly points at the end wins the game. Now, some cards have red eyes. This is an optional rule, but we played it this way, and it was actually, it made it more interesting. If Moono has red eyes on the card, you may not place a cow where he's facing. So let's say one player placed a cow here. The next player would have to skip this side and play a cow here. So whenever Moono's eyes are red, do not place a card in front of him. That's an advanced rule if you want, and I thought that was actually a pretty interesting rule. So yeah, all you do is place your cows in the right order, right spots, right direction, and that's the game.
So I'm gonna be completely honest, I actually had kind of low expectations for this game. I'm not a fan of like gross art, and this game is like, haha, cow poop, and oh look, this cow's pooping, oh boy. I was not that excited to play it, just based off the theme and design of it. I thought it was gonna be kind of like a gross out game. Once you dive into it though, this is actually a pretty fun little variation of Uno. There's more agency, more strategy to it, and there's a gotcha mechanic, which I like. Uno has that a little bit, but this is like very much like a focused sort of follow the rules sort of game. Because there are so many rules to follow, but not too many, you're always making sure your opponents don't mess up, because otherwise you can buzz them and penalize them. This is actually a very successful mechanic, I thought. And with the addition of that expert rule where the mosquito's eyes are red, I thought it was very tricky. Fun, but tricky. It's not like Uno where you can just play idly, like, oh, just play a red, just play a blue, just whatever, and not pay attention to what's going on. If you don't pay attention and you miss the last animal sound, or if you don't remember which way the cows are facing, or if you don't realize your turn has been skipped and you try to play a card, you're gonna get screwed. And I actually really like that, because I hate when people are not paying attention during board games. Like, if you're just kind of like la-di-da-di-da, you're gonna get screwed over in Moono. And that's a good thing in my book. The special cows also give you actually a good amount of strategy, and because you can see all 4 spots for the cards around the cow poop, you can actually plan ahead a little bit with what kind of cows you can place on future turns. There's actually a good amount of strategy with your spot placement. The downside is that, yeah, there's gonna be an element of luck. Yeah, you might get some bad cards and there's nothing you can do about it. But, you know, just like Uno, in any Uno clone, that's gonna be a problem. But honestly, I enjoyed this game more than I thought I would. I'm still not a fan of this gross theme, but as a variation of Uno, it's actually pretty clever and pretty fun.